I was searching on Google Trends how many people are searching for work from home. This is something that you can see here has been trending almost from the beginning of the pandemic. People need to adapt to the change. One of the things that people are starting to do in order to address these challenges, we can see that people need to communicate and they need to socialize. So one of the preferred methods that people are using right now is Zoom. And we can see also here in Google Trend, Zoom is really skyrocketing since the starting of the epidemic. And people revert to Zoom because it's more a user app than an enterprise app. And we can see that people are trying to adapt to this new work from home environment. And they're looking for different solutions that they know. And this can create also some embarrassing moments, unfortunately. I want to share with you a video that was going around recently, but this sort of shows how people need to adapt to this new technology. One of the key things that I suggest is to enable something called waiting rooms. I shared here the two links. There is one link for the users, for the standard users. So if you're not an admin and you're just creating a meeting and you're sharing it with your friends, again, I would advise that also for the family, for the kids, if they're creating Zoom meetings between themselves, go to this setting and turn on the waiting room. Basically, what this means is that people, when they join, they sort of access a lobby and they will have to be admitted in order to join the actual room. So the host of the meeting will accept them once they see them in the waiting room and allow them in. This will make sure that unwanted visitors don't just randomly show up and basically ruin our meeting. Like I said, by default it's off. If you have a business account, you can basically enforce this by going to the admin link. It's almost the same thing instead of profile account, but in that setting, you can enforce it to all users. So everyone has to have this waiting room enabled in order to join meeting. I strongly advise of doing so. The second thing is, and honestly, I really don't know why Zoom even disabled this feature by default, but basically what it means that even if you have a password for your Zoom meeting today, people that join over the phone can still access it without a password, which I honestly don't understand why. But definitely, again, go to your profile settings and make sure that the required password is enabled for all users. So basically, also for phone users, very, very important. So let's talk a little bit about mindset. I think it's key, mindset. Security is not only about technology, it's a lot about mindset, behavior, culture, and specifically these days, people are stressed. And like I said earlier, that's a gold mine for social engineers. They're looking for those stress points, and they use that in order to get people fooled. So we want to create sort of a routine that is similar to the one that we're used to. So obviously you don't have to do this, but I do strongly advise to get up from bed in the morning, get off your pajamas, Now, security awareness in general, like I said, it's key in working from home. And the reason is that not everyone has the same environment. So people have different type of routers, computers, printers, and if we as a company don't share clear policies with employees and expectations, then it's really going to be hard to control the risk. One of those threats, like I mentioned earlier, is an uptick in everything that has to do with things that worry us today. So this is just one example of the extreme that cyber criminals are going and how they also think. And I think it's important to understand that cyber criminals think like marketers, because social engineering is basically when they try to market their scam to us. So we will see a lot of scams over email, obviously, but also on social media, also Google ads and Facebook ads. Many of them are also scams, unfortunately. Marketers are looking at Google Trends, how to get to people with the right keywords. The same thing, cyber criminals. So we see an uptick in domains that include Zoom inside. We're going to see meetings that advise us to connect to a Zoom meeting, and it will download not the Zoom app, but a malware instead, but it will look like the Zoom app. This is another Zoom-related issue. We're talking about social media, and we can see this is what you're looking at right now. This is a screenshot of a Zoom meeting of the UK cabinet. And I think it was shared by the Prime Minister actually on Twitter or something like that. Now, what can I say? First of all, there's the meeting ID at the top. So I don't know if it was shared while the meeting was going or not, but I just can't imagine of people trying to join. When I looked at the meeting carefully, it's a little bit blurry here, but you can see here at the bottom, there is one participant that it shows that they were connected from the phone. So remember, if the password was not enabled and by default it's off for people that call through phone, then hey, there was somebody here without any identification, doesn't say the name of that person, and it just says iPhone. So like I said, I don't know if this was shared in real time or not, but do not share this type of information. And second, we're talking here about high-ranked people that were probably each one of them is a target for spear phishing. And if we look closely, we can learn about a lot of things about them, what they like to read, what they're concerned about, what they love. So like we're getting a glimpse into their personal life. And a social engineer can use that information to craft a spear phishing email directed at them. Next, people, again, if there's no clear policies, people will revert to using what they know to communicate. So people will use maybe WhatsApp or text messaging to talk to colleagues. So very, very important to establish communication channels among the employees, among the team, and to make sure that people know to use only that, because it's more than just a security risk. There's also a huge compliance risk here. Just imagine people are starting to share over WhatsApp or text messages patient information and stuff like that. So this can really lead to big regulation violations if people don't use the proper methods. But again, we have to communicate with our employees what are the proper ways. So whatever you choose, there are different solutions out there. Just make sure that people have them installed, know how to use them, train them on how to use them, and also advise how to use them. Because let's say you're using Slack, it's still not allowed to share passwords over Slack. Use the same best practices that you used for email communication. Many of us understand that we're not supposed to share passwords, clear text passwords in an email. The same goes for Slack or any other communication channel. So we're going to see a lot of different communication channels coming in. So be careful and follow the security policies. Next, and this is very important as well, it's to have a support hotline, because you don't want employees, people that are not maybe technical, to try and fix problems by themselves. The solution they can come up with can actually create greater risk. Again, cyber criminals are looking for weak points, so they may offer solutions for the computer to run faster, and people will download all type of apps to fix their computer or their network or anything like that, or will come up with creative workarounds using their personal apps, Gmail and stuff like that. So now that everyone is working from home, then it's important to have a number that people can call into and someone to answer in order to guide them through any technical problem they have.